Hi Poke fans, Harry here, and welcome to my breakdown of the episode Kindness Right on the Tick, the fourth episode of the Aim to be a Pokemon Master series. Now, this episode I think was amazing, and of course, spoiler alert for the Pokemon episode, of course, Kindness Right on the Tick. But before we get into the episode, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get into the video. So, the episode opens, obviously, with Ash, Misty and Brock travelling together, of course, continuing from the last episode, of course, Brock, Silent and the Forest Witch, where at the end, Brock decided he wanted to travel with Ash and Misty again. So that's continuing from the last episode, which I actually did a breakdown on, and I will link that up in the cards above. And the gang are in this snowy area, and they're wearing coats, of course, because of the cold. And the coat that Misty is wearing is actually the one that she wears in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Black 2 and White 2. It's the same coat, so that's just a cool little reference there. And Ash talks about a time when he encountered a Gyarados, which is a reference probably to what the gang are going to see in this episode, which is a spectacle of a Magikarp climbing a waterfall. Now, this is something that is ingrained actually in Pokemon, and is based on a real-life Chinese legend. And the Chinese legend is basically about a koi fish climbing a waterfall, and when it does, it turns into a powerful dragon, which is obviously the basis behind Magikarp and its evolution into Gyarados. Of course, Magikarp being a koi fish, and when it climbs up this waterfall, it evolves and turns into Gyarados, which is a powerful dragon, although it's not a dragon type, but that's basically what Magikarp's evolution is kind of based on, this Chinese legend. And then we get returning Ash Pokemon. Of course, last episode there were no returning Ash Pokemon, but now we finally have some returning Ash Pokemon. And the Pokemon returning in this episode are, first of all, Ash sends out Oshawott. Now, Oshawott, of course, is a water type, so seeing this water type, Misty hugs Oshawott and calls it cute, because, of course, Misty loves water type. And Oshawott was first seen in the episode In the Shadow of Zekrom, the first episode of the black and white anime, and it actually was part of the lineup that Professor Jupiter showed to Trip, and Oshawott was, of course, the Oshawott that was shown to Trip. But it liked Ash after Trip chose Snivy, and it followed Ash from that episode, and it eventually joined his team in the episode A Sandile Gusher of Change. And then it eventually joined his crew, and its last major appearance was in the episode Crowning the Skullchop King, where it basically competed in a, Oshawott Do-What Samurott contest. Basically, the Oshawott, Do-What and Samurott had to complete many challenges using their Skullchop, and the one that came out at the top at the end was gonna be crowned the Skullchop King, and have a date, I think, with this, female Oshawott. I think Oshawott actually won, but the female Oshawott decided to choose Do-What after his heart got broken and his Skullchop, cut in half. I don't know, it's really funny and also weird, so go watch Crowning the Skullchop King if you want to know what I'm really talking about. And of course, its last minor appearance was in Partners in Time. And Partners in Time was basically when Pikachu was almost knocked out by Leon's Charizard, and it flashed through all of Ash's team. And of course, Oshawott was seen with the Unovan Pokemon that Ash had caught. But of course, that isn't it for returning Ash Pokemon. We later see Talonflame, and Talonflame was first caught as a fletchling in the episode A Battle of Aerial Mobility, and then it later evolved into Fletchinder in Battles in the Sky, where it battled a Talonflame, and it evolved into this battle into a Fletchinder, and then it later evolved into Talonflame in a legendary photo op where Fletchinder went up against the legendary Moltres, and actually managed to take it down by evolving into its final form, Talonflame. And of course, its last major appearance was in the episode The Right Hero for the Right Job, where it basically teamed up with all of Ash's other Kalos Pokemon and Alarm's whole team as well, where they teamed up to take down Lysander and stop him from, well, basically creating an apocalypse. And its last major appearance was again in the episode Partners in Time, where it was seen alongside all of Ash's Kalos Pokemon, when Pikachu had a vision of all of Ash's teams, and of course Talonflame was seen with the Kalos team. And we also have more returning Ash Pokemon, another one being Snorlax, who was first seen in the episode Snack Attack, where Ash and Misty and Tracy were travelling through the Orange Islands. And its last major appearance was in the episode Will of Frontier, where it was helping Ash earn, of course, frontier symbols when he was beating all that and basically battling his way through the Battle Frontier. And its last minor appearance was again in the episode Partners in Time, where it was seen with kind of the Johto squad, as it was kind of caught in between Kanto and Johto. And the final Ash Pokemon returning in this episode is Incineroar, who was first seen in the episode Alola to New Adventure, which was the first episode of the Sun and Moon anime, and Litten was caught actually in One Journey Ends, Another Begins, and that was just a heartbreaking episode. If you don't want your heart broken, do not watch One Journey Ends, Another Begins, because it is so sad. And then it later evolved into Torracat in Pushing the Fiery Envelope, where it battled Kukui's Incineroar, and it's just, again, I think it's that episode where, again, it's so sad again, so don't watch that one if you don't want your heart broken either. And its last major appearance was in the episode Fiery Surprises, where it evolved into Incineroar after beating Kukui's Incineroar as a Torracat, and it evolved into Incineroar. However, it did faint after that because it was just so worn out from beating Kukui's Incineroar. And its last minor appearance was, of course, in the episode Partners in Time, where it was seen by Pikachu with the Alola squad. And again, I do just have to mention, Ash has only brought back 4 returning Pokemon again. There's always one spot free. And I don't know why they have done this. Maybe this is foreshadowing, like, him catching Latias, but I don't know why they just don't do it in that episode. Only have Ash have 5 Pokemon in the final episode where he catches Latios. I don't know, it's just a bit weird, but again, Ash only has 5 Pokemon on his squad. However, not to be outdone by Ash, Misty and Brock both have returning Pokemon as well. Brock has his Fortress, which was caught as a Pineco in Going Apricorn, and actually Brock caught this Pineco in a fastball. However, in this episode, Fortress emerges from a Pokeball in this episode. Just a funny little mistake there. However, it did eventually evolve into Fortress, of course, in the episode Entei at Your Own Risk. And it was last seen in the episode Home is Where the Start Is, which was the final episode of the kind of Hoenn anime before Ash continued to Sinnoh. And of course, Misty also has returning Pokemon. She has Starmie, which was first seen in the episode The Flowers of the Cerulean Gym, and it was last seen in the episode The Misty Mermaid. However, even though The Misty Mermaid was its final appearance in the main Pokemon anime, it was also seen in the Pokemon Chronicles episode, which is kind of a spin-off series, in the episode Love Disc is a Many-Splendored Thing. And again, just like Totodale's last appearance was in the episode Pokemon Chronicles, Misty Starmie, its last episode was in the Pokemon Chronicles spin-off series. And then the intro plays, which I've already done a breakdown on that, so check it out if you haven't already. Link that up in the cards above. And the intro plays, obviously, and the Pokemon selection section. The Pokemon shown are Heracross, Bayleaf, Quilava, Totodile, Shiny Noctowl, and Donphan. And of course, this is Ash's Hoenn team, and it's basically showing their appearances, and in this intro, it shows their first appearances. So it shows Chikorita, which is Bailey's pre-evolved form, in the Chikorita Rescue. It shows Cyndaquil, Quilava's pre-evolved form, in the episode Good Quill Hunting. It shows Totodile in the episode The Totodile Duel. It shows Heracross in the episode A Snappy Ending. It shows Shiny Noctowl, again, which was amazing actually, because first and only Shiny Ash has ever owned. And it also shows Phanpy, which is Donphant's pre-evolved form, in the episode Hatching a Plan. Now these are all the episodes that they first appeared in, so it's great. It's probably going to go through Ash's whole team, going to be his Hoenn team next episode in the intro. It's just amazing that all of Ash's Pokemon are getting recognition. But back to the episode, the waterfall has been frozen, and whilst cutting through the ice, Oshawott loses its Scowlchop and panics, and becomes sad, just like it has done many times when it has lost its Scowlchop in the past before. Really, for a Pokemon that loves its Scowlchop, it loses it a lot. However, a Beartick throws the Scowlchop back, and this Beartick is the main Pokemon of this episode, and is also the Pokemon that throws this waterfall. However, when the gang see this Beartick runs away, and they chase after it, using the returning Pokemon of Snorlax, Talonflame, Incineroar, Starmie, and Fortress to break ice that are in the way so that they can get to this Beartick. And the gang come across a bunch of frozen Pokemon, including Talonflame, Pikachu, and Oshawott, as of course Pikachu and Oshawott got on Talonflame as Talonflame flew ahead above the ice, but they came too close to Beartick and accidentally got frozen by its icy powers. Now maybe all these Pokemon frozen in ice is a reference to Lusamine, who had lots of Pokemon frozen in ice in her Ethan Foundation room in the Pokemon games Pokemon Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. But it is revealed that all this ice is in the way because Beartick can't control its ice powers. So Ash and Pikachu decide to help Beartick control its powers. However, Beartick loses control of its powers many times, and the first time it actually freezes Ash, Pikachu and Oshawott, and the third time Beartick loses control, it freezes Talonflame and Incineroar, which had protected the gang and actually unfroze them before in this episode, when it unfroze Ash, Pikachu and Oshawott from the ice and protected Misty and Brock from being frozen in ice. But Beartick's ice powers are so powerful, it can freeze fire types. And Beartick becomes frustrated by this and loses control completely, causing it, Ash, Pikachu and Oshawott to fall into an icy cavern. Now maybe this is a reference to the episode Snow Way Out, when Ash and his Pokemon got trapped in a snowy, icy cave, and unfortunately Ash twists his ankle after falling into this cavern. However, Beartick decides to carry all of them out, including Ash, and it climbs actually out of the cavern. However, there is obviously drama, because as it grabs onto this icy piece, it breaks, and Beartick falls, along with, of course, Ash, Pikachu and Oshawott. However, Beartick masters its powers and creates an icy platform to stop them falling. And now Beartick has mastered its powers, it creates ice pillars so it can jump from one ice pillar to the other to jump out of the icy cavern. And when Beartick is mastering this, when Ash is telling it to create the icy pillars, it crosses from Ash's face to Beartick's face. Now maybe this is a reference to Ash Greninja, as they kind of like fuse together, but maybe it's just a fun thing to show that Beartick and Ash are working in tandem with each other. And once they are out of the cavern, Brock takes a look at Ash's ankle, as his dream of course is to be a Pokemon doctor, and while Ash of course is not a Pokemon, maybe he can help relieve some of Ash's pain. However, Pikachu sees a bunch of the wild Pokemon from earlier that Beartick had frozen, and they're watching them. So, to show them that Beartick is not a threat anymore, Beartic creates a Skullchop out of ice that Oshawott actually wanted Beartic to make earlier when Ash and Pikachu were trying to help Beartic master his powers. And he actually makes this Skullchop so the other Pokemon won't be afraid of him. And Ash calls Beartic an Ice Master, which is probably a reference to Ash's goal, which is to be a Pokemon Master, and this series, which of course is called Aim to be a Pokemon Master. However, all the Pokemon look scared of Beartic, except for a single Battle Spray, who asks Beartic to make it an Ice Skullchop, and this convinces the rest of the wild Pokemon to trust Beartic and also ask it for an Ice Skullchop. And Beartic and Battle Sprite both wear the Skullchop like on their chest, like Oshawott does. It's so funny, and they like even turn it the way Oshawott does. It's just so funny to see a Battle Sprite and Beartic have a Skullchop like Oshawott does. And then, as this episode comes to a close, we zoom out and we see Latios, which has been watching this whole thing unfold in its invisible form. Just like it has in every other previous episode in this series. Of course, the Winds of Begin, The Endless Road, Ash, Misty, Seaside 1-1, and Brock and Silent and the Forest Witch. It has all watched this whole episode unfold in its invisible form. And then the outro plays, and we're back to the original Japanese outro that played at the end of the episodes The Winds of Begin, The Endless Road, and Ash and Misty, Seaside 1-1. But not the previous episode, Brock, Silent and the Forest Witch. That was Brock's Paradise. That played at the end of that episode, but we are back to the original first Japanese outro. And then we get a sneak peek of next week's episode, where we see the return of Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charizard. Of course, the 3 Kanto starters that Ash had. So it's great to see them return, and I wonder what hijinks they'll get into. We also see in this sneak peek of next week's episode, Team Rocket actually returning, as this is the only episode so far of the Aim to be a Pokemon Master series that Team Rocket are not in. So I wonder what will happen with Team Rocket in the next episode. But I just think this episode was great. Unfortunately, not many returning characters and an absence of Team Rocket as well. However, we did have returning Pokemon, which we didn't have last episode. So overall, I think it was a great episode. But let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? And also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. Also subscribe and share it out. I will see you in the next one.